we conduct any business tonight, we need to get a motion from one of the commissioners to nominate a president pro tem.
So moved to nominate Commissioner Baloo.
And a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening, everyone. This evening, we're gonna go a little out of our concept of what we normally do here. We're gonna have two meetings. First one's a little mini meeting, which deals with our bond issue. Mini for you people, not so many for our staff. So, we will start with that, and then that will be very brief, and then we'll get on with our regular meeting post that. So based on that,
You have a script for the BINA hearing
I do,
attached.
yes, I do.
Okay. Yes.
You could just go right from the script.
I don't need this. Okay. All right. The Bond Issue Notification Act hearing is now open. The purpose of the Bond Issue Notification hearing is to hold a public hearing to provide the opportunity for the public to make comments concerning the board's intent to sell general obligation limited tax park bonds before the board formally votes on the adoption of a bond ordinance. The Board of Park Commissioners intends to sell general obligation limited tax park bonds in 2019, 2020, and 2021 in an aggregate amount not to exceed $3,300,000 for the payment of land condemned or purchased for parks, for the building, maintaining, improving, and protecting of the same, and the existing land and facilities of the district. An ordinance providing for the issuance of approximately $1,052,335 general obligation limited tax park bonds, Series 2019, will be on the November 21st, 2019 board agenda. Are there any comments or questions from the park commissioners with respect to the proposed issuance of bonds? Seeing none. Are there any comments or questions from the public with respect to the proposed issuance of bonds? Okay. As there have been no questions or comments with respect to the proposed issuance of bonds and the Bond Issue Notification Act, hearing is now closed. A motion and a second to adjourn the hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Moline?
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhofer?
Okay, the hearing is over now. Next, our regular meeting. So first up, we have our call to order and our roll call, please.
Commissioner Kessler?
Here.
Commissioner Robbins?
Here.
Commissioner Moline?
Here.
Commissioner Baloo?
Present.
President Dorhofer?
Okay, with that, could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First item this evening is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and or non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. If a separate vote on any one item is desired, it will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Items of the omnibus vote agenda this evening are A, minutes of the special board meeting of September 19th, 2019, minutes of the regular board meeting of September 19th, 2019, minutes of the closed session September 19th, 2019, and payables, Les Granger, and payroll through October 24th, 2019. Can I have a motion to approve?
So.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Moline?
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Okay. Next up are our financial reports for the period ending September 30th of this year. Marla, are the reports currently on file?
Yes, they are.
All right. Any questions for anyone? No? With that, I need a motion to approve the financial reports for the period ending September 30th, 2019, pending audit adoption.
Which is.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Moline?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
All right, next up is our welcome to visitors and guests public comment period. Seeing no great rush to the podium. We'll move on to our next next item, our new business, which is the Sullivan Community Center Skate Park presentation. Lori Bureau.
And Sarah Dryer.
And who?
Sarah.
And Sarah.
Sarah Dryer.
Hello, Sarah.
So Lori and Sarah are our landscape architects. You may remember them. They did a project for us at Kids Castle with the dragon component. And then she's also been working with with us, with James and I initially, on our playground, future playground plans for the Lashin, once that agreement is established.
All right, so good evening, and thanks for having us. As Jeff said, my name is Lori Vero, and I'm with Senior Landscape Architect with JSD Professional Services, and with me is Sarah Dryer, also a landscape architect, and kind of walk you through what we've done to date. When James and Jeff reached out about relocating your skate park, First, we're going to start with one manufacturer, and the more we got into this, we thought, all right, let's look at multiple, many manufacturers to see what opportunities are out there. We got down to, we wanted to have 4 companies. It consisted of, 3 companies, 3. Evergreen Skate Parks, Spawn Ranch, and American Ramp. That was what we pursued. As we went through the process of getting designs, it ended up that American Ramp really wasn't interested and didn't really respond to requests. And our other 2 firms definitely did, even to the tune of Evergreen Skate Parks got us 2 really awesome designs, and then we also have a nice one from Spawn Ranch. So what we're gonna do tonight, Sarah's gonna walk you through the designs, and as we look at the designs that are here, we're trying to get direction on what you would like us to take to the residents, which is November 7th, where the teen and the skate population, the skateboarders will be invited, any BMX bikers. That's on November 7th, and we'll need to know the direction that you would like us to present at that public meeting. So with that, I'll have Sarah walk through. You wanna go? You wanna do it up there?
I might grab
Yeah,
this.
you can
Is
take
this
the
enough?
mic.
I assume. Maybe
Full hard.
not. Full heart?
Oh, there you go.
All right. All right, so we do have 3 awesome concepts. Concept A and B are from Evergreen, and C is Spawn Ranch. With both Evergreen concepts, I'll walk through them. They're both kind of in a circular, skatable motion, which we had never really seen before, so this is a really cool opportunity. Some of the elements for people that do not skate, myself as well, we learned a lot. So we have in concept A, and you'll see some of the same elements repeated in B. We have elements called transitional hips and bumps and escalating hips. These are elements that allow skaters to grab more speed. They're also, and you'll notice there's some nice curves on some of these elements, kind of smooth versus the really hard edge. Those allow beginners to also come in and feel comfortable skating. So both A and B have a lot of those elements. So with A, we've got a long, flat steel edge. We do have some bumps and ramps that you can kind of grind on and come through them, all in a circular motion. And then the imagery on the side is general representative imagery of some of these elements within the concept. The difference between concept A and B, they're both about the same size and radius and square feet. B has kind of this cool central piece. It's called a radius waterfall. This is some of those soft edges again for beginning skaters, but also allowing more experienced skaters to pick up the speed there and continue on with some of the other elements. This also has kind of this cool green space in the middle. Kids could sit there while they're waiting to go down another element, or just have kind of a cool resting spot from skating. Both of these concepts work well with the existing topography, build the topography into the skate park, allowing for some cool, element and changes for skating. And then the third concept, this is Spawn Ranch. This is more of a plaza style skate park. You do have some of the similar elements, handrails, the bumps, the ledges, where you can grind. This one shows a bit more of the sharper edges along some of the elements coming off to get down into the skate park. And they have different quarter pipe, some different quarter pipe areas where you can kind of get up high and then get that momentum down into that plaza feel. And then all of them do allow for some BMX, some biking on them. The softer edges on these ones, and there's a couple of them in here, allow for biking and BMX use as well. So both of those action sports. So with what Sarah just presented, as she mentioned, it's some really cool concepts, and if you get a chance, if you haven't had an opportunity, do look at Evergreen Skate Park's website. We've had multiple conversations with the owner. His name is Billy. He's a skater. Of course, all these guys are owners, are skaters. But they are kind of changing the landscape across the country with going from what you see from Spawn Ranch, which is still cool and they're still used, but you can see the difference. It's just really kind of exciting, the changes that are happening that you don't normally see with these circular and very user-friendly, as Sarah was explaining. So as regarding the cost for these, A and B, they gave us the same price, which you have in your packet. With a contingency, we're roughly around $251,000 for either A or B. And then Spawn Ranch was higher, and they're with a 10% contingency, around $328,000 for the installation. And then one addition that we did have so our base, when JSD did the cost estimating, our base is turf restoration around it. No new trees, no new shrubs, turf restoration. But looking at concept B that Sarah showed with having this green space in the center, it really could lend itself very nicely, as she said, a place to rest, a place to sit and talk to your friends. And that area could have some ornamental grasses, maybe some boulders, just to have some landscape in there. Nothing too crazy, low-mow turf to keep maintenance on the low end. But you could plant that. And we estimated today about $3,500 to $5,000 in adding plant material if that was something you were interested in. And then the other idea, which is more expensive but would be synthetic turf, the playground grass, which is very popular now. Easy to install, obviously low maintenance, environmentally friendly, because you don't have to mow it, you don't have to fertilize, et cetera. And we're estimating, we used Perfect Turf for our cost. We're working with Perfect Turf right now. We use their cost to estimate. And roughly, we're thinking between $13,000 and $15,000 if you did that entire center portion in synthetic turf. We wanted to present that as an option to you as well. So with that, any questions?
Concept A, what's the middle made of? The black area.
In which one, Jim?
Concept A.
Concept A?
That's all concrete.
That's just a bowl.
This is a
Is it
bowl.
a
Yeah.
bowl or is it flat?
Oh, this,
Yeah.
This whole area, yeah, that whole area in
that's all
there.
turf.
That's turf.
That's
yeah,
turf
that's
in
turf.
that one.
Sorry, this is turf.
He just didn't,
Yeah.
it's not rendered
green it.
green.
Yep, that's turf.
This is all open space in here, so just
So
This
this,
some berms.
That's turf. What are the little green areas then?
That's showing the berms. I
Those are-
think how we-
using topography to make those elements, yeah.
Okay.
So that was, again, that was a positive that we see, is they really did try to work with, we had a survey done, JSD did a survey, we sent it to all the reps. Here's the topography. They really seem to take advantage and embrace it. I mean, Spawn Ranch did as well, but these
So-
first two.
If the turf on B is 13 to 15, what's the turf on A?
No, if we did synthetic
Yeah.
turf restoration, Kentucky
No, I'm
bluegrass.
talking about the synthetic.
Oh, we didn't figure
So
synthetic.
that would all be, in the middle would all just be grass.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one, the fact that it's narrow and it's between both ramp areas, we thought of making it synthetic turf. It can stay Kentucky bluegrass blend as, originally designed.
And this one also, it has, you can kind of see some of the topography, so there would be some slope on that turf area, so synthetic would hold up really well on a slope in that skinnier space between.
And if you didn't, you could still do low mow, to keep maintenance
So
down.
in concept B, is the park sitting up a little? Or am I just, my eyes deceiving me with the green around the edges? It looks like there's a
So
slope.
there is topography out there, and he's taking advantage of it. So wherever it is higher out there now, build into that, and
Okay.
wherever it's lower, then he would come down. So it's not elevating it, it's working with it. I mean, obviously, some parts are going to be higher depending on how the concrete works.
Yes.
So, between A and B, it looks like B has it's a larger area for skating, accommodating more skaters,
Yes.
if I'm seeing that correctly?
Correct.
And are there more, activities on B versus A? I mean, it seems like there's more things to do.
I think you can get yes, Yeah.
I mean,
I think with the center area,
yeah.
this, on different sides of that provides a lot more than A.
it seems like more activities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
accommodating more skaters, where the other one seems a little smaller for the same price. I mean, it seems like, for me, B makes more sense. Is there a skill level? Are they both designed, I know you kept saying easy, but what happens if we have people who are really skating? Is one, a higher, challenging than
Right.
the other?
So if this was his quote actually from Billy, and you can accommodate all levels. So your more experienced are going to enjoy it and be able to have fun. But by rounding those edges and some of that, you are allowing the younger ones or new skaters to enjoy it as well. So no, it's challenging. And again, if you get a chance to look at his website, when you see him, it's like, oh.
Do they say how many skaters could be at A versus B? Do they give you a number of skaters?
No, we can ask
We
him
can
that.
ask, yeah.
I think when we spoke to, we didn't speak to Evergreen, but when we spoke to Spawn, and we gave him our dimensions of roughly a 6,000 square foot, he told us you could do about 25 skaters comfortably.
But that's that area, that's all cement. So how much square foot cement is the other?
So the area that these are roughly are in the 6,000 range. So it's hard to tell, but this line, these lines and the edges, this is probably better down here, this picture. This is your existing path, the bike path on the east side. This is the path that would go through the middle right now would be removed. So you can tell they used our survey. So it's roughly 6,000 square feet. I would like to ask that question of Billy, how many, is there a huge difference between here and here in the number of skaters? And I feel, just looking at it, and neither of us are skaters, but I feel like these would have more kids on it. Because you could be going in a circle and not necessarily be jumping on top of each other. That's, again, I don't skateboard, but from looking at it, that's how we interpret it. And, well, I'll let you guys ask any more questions.
Nothing? Question? Go ahead, Bruce.
Just a couple questions. Now, where are we going to be putting this?
This is, so you have your existing skate park that's in the parking lot.
Okay,
Figure just going up into the grass. So there's, I think, 6 honey locusts.
6, yeah.
Between the edge of the parking lot and going east to the bike path in that area.
and we have room to put this
Yep.
A, B, or C?
We gave them the site survey, and we delineated, told them that this path could go. If we can save the trees, great. If we can't, the bike path has to stay. So yes, we gave them the parameters, and they will fit in there.
Are any trees saved with concept B?
So we asked Billy about that today, and after, again, looking at some of his other projects, this can be tweaked to save, because it's so curvilinear, you could work your way and try and save, because he even said, I don't wanna take down trees if I don't have to. And he has one project that they've done where they kept a tree in the middle and built around it, which is kind of fun. Now, obviously, there's none here in the middle, but, I think he would have a respect of working with us to save trees if we can.
Great.
Would our insurance premiums have to increase because of this new facility?
No,
Okay.
No.
So we don't have any extra cost for that?
no.
Um,
Unless you get on a skateboard,
Yeah.
our premiums might go up, yeah.
I do have one other comment. Now, we're doing this because of the new addition to the kindergarten center that's attached to our to the Sullivan Center. If we didn't have that kindergarten facility, then we would never have to do this.
No,
Is that right?
The timeframe for the existing one is
Yeah,
about,
that was a long time.
is about 5 years, and we're gonna have to replace it anyway.
Oh, so we would have to do it.
So
anyways.
eventually, we're gonna have to do something.
I see.
This is just moving up the timeline.
Sure.
It's also getting it out of the parking lot,
Right, right.
which would be a nice feature.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if I can, this, if you don't mind, James, I know we're probably not getting this on camera, but this is the, what we're calling the relocated skate park. So right now, it sits up in here. So this is the last row of our parking lot at Sullivan, and what we're proposing with the school district is going to use this as a queuing, so we're pulling the whole park back to safety.
I have one more question. Do we need to put up barriers because it's butting up to a parking thing? And what are we using for that, and is that
You have your
included?
existing
We can
Jersey-
just use the existing ones?
Jersey barriers. So, I believe with Swan Ranch, that's an easy solution. With the circular, we'd have to, review with Evergreen Skate Parks to
What-
see,
Would we be able to, I
you
mean,
can reuse those.
I'd really like not to.
I know.
So could we berm? Could we berm? Do you really want the concrete things out there? Not
Well,
really.
actually, Lori came up, I thought was a great idea. She said have the kids spray paint them and decorate
I
them.
was thinking the
And use them,
exact same
use them
thing.
as a perimeter
I
around.
was
Alright,
thinking
help
the
us
same
all.
thing.
I had the art class come out, it could be really cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah, it could be really fun. You make them look a lot better, the teens would love it.
It certainly would be a lot safer in terms of 2 lanes of traffic coming through there, you know.
Paint begets more paint. You know what I mean?
They're concrete.
I
You're just
understand that, but
You're
you're
just
gonna
spray
have,
painting them,
right, but then you're gonna have more spray painters.
perhaps.
In the morning, you might have a surprise.
Sometimes having them already
Not
tagged,
very
they won't
else, of course not.
re-tag,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, if you involve those kids that are tagging.
yep, if they protect their own, right, so.
Okay.
So what we'd like to hear from you, and Jeff, you can stop me if I'm, going the wrong direction, but which one you would prefer, or, if we are taking one to the teenagers, if we're taking 2, and what would you recommend for presentation to the teens? And then we also, did speak with Billy about this, and I think Vince with Spawn Ranch is on board as well. Billy, for sure, if one of these was selected or both, he would come to the meeting, and as part of that meeting, we could ask the skater, the actual users, ask them if they come up and say, well, I don't like this element, I like this better. He would have that professional conversation with them, skater to skater, and as long as it didn't change the cost,
Right.
they could have they would take some ownership in making a decision on their own skate park. So, with that, I'll turn that over to Jeff.
So I guess, anybody have an opinion, one way or the other?
I like the price of the B and A. Certainly, and if you said it's the future, I mean, that, you're seeing that
Yeah.
occur more and more, a circular type.
The only other one in Illinois is in Villa Park right now.
And that one is circular, and that was done 5 years ago. And it gets used a lot. I spoke to my colleague there, and he was real happy with,
They use this vendor?
they used this vendor. He said they came out, they did it in a really professional manner, and, yeah, so.
I mean, I guess I lean towards B, but if we're gonna go, I would vote for that vendor. And I would probably bring both concept A and B out to the skaters to let them give input. I mean, I don't think there's a harm to it, and I think looking at the actual elements, because I'm not sure exactly what all those elements are on each one of them, and, giving them that input of what they would like.
Bruce?
Yeah, I agree with Cindy. I would like to show them both A and B, and this is out of my realm, but, let the so-called experts come up with what they think it should be.
I'm okay with that.
So my first impression was I liked B the best. I thought A was boring. It just doesn't look like it has enough to it.
Right.
Where B just seemed like for the same amount of square footage, the same price, it had a whole lot more to it. A lot more for the skaters to do. My only fear is that one seems like it has more elements for difficulty, for higher people
Yep.
that skate. And I don't know what our user is out here. I haven't been out there in a long time watching them. So I don't know if we have a lot of trick jumpers and things like that.
We have,
or-
we have a couple staff, Amy's son, Tom Ritter's son, that are skateboarders, and, they looked at it. Your son liked C,
Oh, really?
yeah? He's
He's older. That was my question.
20,
He's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
yeah. Tom's son liked B, but he also liked C as well.
Because of, I think he's more familiar with C, because it's more traditional, it's what
Yeah.
we have.
So I
Like
guess,
the drop-ins and.
I guess the question I have is, does it hurt for our open house thingy?
They have them all.
Maybe not all of them, maybe you take B and C, but maybe just for maybe just some triggers, some thoughts, maybe we like the guy that's doing B, but maybe there's something he can incorporate from C into his B.
Well, I would say
Because I
this,
think,
Jim.
I just,
Yeah.
that one looks like it's for
Yeah.
older kids.
Yeah. It's also 325,000.
I don't disagree with you, I get the dollar
70,000
amount.
over. We went to the vendors and we gave them a budget. We
Right.
told them 250, and they came in at 325.
Okay.
And they still have a 10% built, on top of that with contingencies. So, if you brought that to our audience in 2 weeks, I would hate to think that all of a sudden they go that way, and now we gotta come up with
Plus, it's apples and oranges. If
330,000.
it's that big a difference in price, then obviously it's gonna be different. It's gonna
Yeah.
be, hopefully it's better to some degree if it's that much more money.
Spawn they did our existing skate park, I don't know how many years ago when that was put in, James, 05, I think?
Well,
03,
It just seems like C has a little more
Yeah.
elevation change to it,
Yeah.
things like that, so,
No,
at least from the drawing.
Like with B, with that big dip in the middle, could that be even deeper? I don't know how deep it is, it's hard to tell here, but if it's a matter of making that a little bit deeper to give it a little more challenging, is there things we can do element-wise to up the, we don't want it to be we want it to be
Right.
entry level, but we also want it to, it's gotta
Challenging.
be
All
both.
users, yep.
So
both
one
markets.
thing, which I have not done yet, but I did see on the website, which could be part of that presentation, is he has a lot of videos on his website that I've not viewed, and I don't think you viewed them either. I think for the older kids, it is so different, because they haven't seen it. If we could show some videos of it in action and show more real-life pictures of his projects, maybe the kids would be like, oh, I see. But it's so different, I think, it's like, oh, I know what Spawn Ranch is, I know what that is, I do that all the time. You could show we could bring more pictures to the kids.
Lori,
projects.
what's the width, like on B, what's the width of the,
we estimated around 88 feet.
So if I looked at that concrete just going around, just take me on a path, like a section of the path, what is it? 10, 12, 14, 18 feet wide, 20 feet wide?
20.
20? Okay,
15, yeah.
okay. So you looked at it scale-wise and were able to
This is
determine
about-
that,
About 80,
So it's
Okay.
40 from the middle,
right,
it's not, probably
15.
not 20, it's probably, cause.
so if I'm thinking if it's 20
feet in the middle
wide,
of the grass.
what is that? Could you put four skaters side by side on a 20-foot wide path?
2.
You know, maybe more. You might be able to do 5 or 6 or so, okay.
Well, I'm all about saving $75,000 too, so.
It's like your consent.
I personally like B. I'm not sure if you even want to bring A. I think I would go with B, like you said, and show those videos or whatever. Have the gentleman here if he's willing to come out, and maybe through conversations with the other kids because maybe there's something that's out there right now that maybe there isn't there, and maybe there's a way he can incorporate something like that into it.
Right.
I like the flow of it. I like the look of it, the grass.
Yep.
I think
That A reminds me of like a velodrome.
Yes.
Like you just going, like, you know, like roller derby or something, and you're just
Rollerball.
going, you're just going kind of in circles, where which, you know, they may like, I don't know.
Right.
Well, that's why I
Yeah.
said, I mean, I personally
Sit out
too
there.
like B, but I'm thinking it doesn't hurt to bring A, and I think I would think that they would all lean towards B, but we might be having some reason we don't know, and at the vendors there, he could tell you why those elements, so.
it's fine. I don't know. Okay, so we have kind of a
So
consensus.
there you go, Lori.
Okay.
A and B, and schedule to have them out here 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Okay, and James or I'll touch base with you tomorrow.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Down here. So next up is our 2020 to 24 strategic plan presentation. Carol Senti will be showing us a proposed plan. As soon as she gets from behind the boards.
Behind door number 2.
Welcome Carol to the podium, and it's all yours.
Alrighty.
Let them get the PowerPoint up.
It's not ours.
It's not on the public, we need the public to see it, so we can.
Get it? It's like you flipped them, so you flipped them.
On this end, and I don't see it on that end.
Ready?
We're ready.
Great. Well, thanks for having me here tonight and to present the 5-year strategic plan. That's from 2020 to 2024. Sure. Is that for me now? Okay, thanks. I do want to start by thanking the park board, the staff, Jeff Fougeroux, who's part of the staff, but the executive director, the entire full-time staff, the community, Jared Schuneman, and Lynn Duwanda for their contributions to the strategic direction of this plan that we worked on. It was enjoyable to work on the plan with you guys and lead it and facilitate it, so I appreciate that opportunity. For people who don't know, I live in Vernon Hills, so I'm proud to live in this district and have this district as my park district. I use it and enjoy it. So for people who don't know, I just want to say that the vision and the mission did inform the strategic plan, and that was important. And just to quickly read it, the vision is addressing the lifelong leisure needs of all Vernon Hills residents, and the mission statement is, our mission is to promote diverse, community-based recreational opportunities by providing a variety of programs, services, facilities, and natural spaces to enhance the quality of life for our residents. Let's see if that works. Okay, The next slide, the objective of the plan was to identify strategic areas of focus and specific goals to set the direction for the coming 5 years. We did not include a capital plan because that is part of a different effort that you guys have. It's a separate document and can be found on the website. The plan does include both external and internal goals. The external goals focus on programs, parks, customer service, marketing, and facilities, and the internal goal is a team-focused goal. To prepare for this, we had a series of 5 workshops, both with the staff and the board. We conducted a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and we came up with 6 strategic areas of focus as well as 20 specific goals. Also very important was the online survey that was produced by Campfire Concepts. We received, the district received an impressive 1,174 responses, and that very much informed what the decision making was for the strategic plan as well. Okay, so this lists basically the 6 strategic areas of focus. They were identified by the staff and the board. The first one's programs, and this was just based on the patron feedback. We want to expand programs and services to better serve the interests, and there are 5 goals that are part of that that we'll go through. The second is parks. Many people talked about the parks being the jewel of the Vernon Hills Park District and really enjoying them. So we want to stay ahead of the curve and make sure that we're putting money into this great asset that we have in this community. Third was customer service, just to continually improve the customer services experiences with the district and make sure we're responding to any issues that we've seen that they've brought up. Number 4 was marketing, and that's expanding the marketing to continually find new ways to communicate the offerings. And so residents are able to make informed decisions because some of what we saw in the survey was, I'm not sure what you have, or, and so we feel like that we do a great job, but marketing and how we communicate is always changing. Number 5 is facilities. We have 3 facilities that we specifically focus on, and that is to strengthen those facilities' ability to meet the community's needs and identify any niche markets, branding, and marketing to support those 3 facilities. Number 6 is the team goal. The Park District does invest in their team, so we want to continue to invest in the team so they enjoy their role, and it breeds more team cohesiveness and enthusiasm. Certainly, organization is only as strong as the people who are there, and so investing in staff to create both a great place to work and to build the team so they can better serve the community became in our internal strategic area of focus. Okay, so now we're going to go through them one by one. That first area was the programs. And goal 1.1 in programs was to establish partnerships. It's a partnership-focused goal to deliver more programs to existing customers. This goal is about continuing to find new ways to deliver more value at a reasonable fee to residents and expand the partners that the Park District works with. Could include the high school, the village, the College of Lake County, corporate partners, and it could incorporate additional partners. The next goal under that category was expand current program enrollment. There was a comment about canceling events when programs didn't reach their enrollment numbers. And so action items in this goal kind of address ways to prioritize the most successful programs, evaluate the non-resident fee structure, expand the use of social media to highlight what program offerings there are, and also where we can reduce the cancellations. So that was goal 1.2. 1.3 was just to increase the programs in the areas that survey respondents were asking for. Top program categories were listed and delving into that a little bit deeper. always trying to keep things fresh. Goal 1.4 was to increase awareness of the district's scholarship program. The district wants to be sure that lower income families know about the scholarship, and if we have the possibility to expand it, to do that as well. And then goal 1.5 is to revisit the district's tax and fee structure and fee pricing strategy for both residents and non-residents. This goal kind of just focuses on continually evaluating the district's fee pricing strategy and just making sure we find that right balance between using tax dollars and fees charged to cover the program costs. I guess I just want to say if you guys have questions while I'm going, ask me, but I'll just keep rolling if no one has anything to add. So the next category was a parks focus. And we had 3 goals in this one. And the first one was to create a long-term plan for the internal and external trail system. This was a multi-piece goal. It involved expanding and interconnecting the existing district's trail system for the benefit of all users. So whether it's walking or biking, et cetera, whatever you're doing on the trail, taking everyone into consideration. It included developing a trail master plan, researching users' needs, working with other intergovernmental agencies, installing color-coded paths, and indications of trail distance, so you know how far you were going, as well as the consideration of widening certain paths that seem to be high traffic areas as funds allowed to just accommodate more residents. Goal 2.2 was develop a replacement plan for gazebos and shelters utilizing the memorial program donations and sponsors. So as the gazebos in the district and the shelters are aging, the district wants to provide a long-term replacement plan and identify the prototype design and location of the replacement structures. In this goal, the district will revamp and enlarge the memorial donation program and also include some sponsorship options for people who are interested. Goal 2.3 was to invest in a dog event for our dog-owning constituents because the survey identified the desire of numerous residents to consider activities for their dogs. The districts will be considering adding some one-day dog events where residents can interact with their pets in fun activities, and on a longer-term basis, the district will be considering some dog park alternatives, and we'll also make sure residents are aware of all the dog parks that already exist throughout Lake County. So we're not looking to replace or recreate those. The next category of focus is customer service, and we have 2 goals under there. Goal 3.1 was to improve our customers' online and in-person service experience. So this goal just focuses on making facilities easier for the residents to find via printable directions, highlighting parks perhaps on social media, making sure all the full and part-time staff are well equipped to explain when they get calls and inquiries. People coming in can help customers with the directions and even an interactive website map system. Another action item under here was for one-time events that district residents or people, anyone who wants to sign up, we're just making registration a little easier and faster for them, and then review the district's current website and just make information more prominent and information easier to find. Goal 3.2 was to expand the customer appreciation effort. The district's been focusing mostly on more on repeated customer appreciation type efforts, and believe these are the primary ways that their customers appreciate being rewarded. But they're also going to investigate the desire for and benefits of maybe a customer loyalty rewards type program. Okay. So next area of focus was a marketing focus, and this was to expand the district's marketing. Well, I don't have to read that. I read that earlier. So there's, I think there's 4 goals under here. Yes. So the 4.1 was to expand the communication methods to increase awareness. There was some things that we read in the survey about what is where and what you have. And so the marketing focus and this goal has multiple elements because there's a wide variety of areas that residents are requesting and ways that they search for information, and we want to kind of accommodate how they're made aware of programs and service offerings. So the marketing of the programs will continue to use the program brochures, the email news blasts, and social media, but additionally the district will be producing a seasonal age-specific flyer to make it convenient for the different sectors to become aware of offerings geared to their age group. Basically, every program and service offering and district facility needs to be effectively marketed to the community so they can be made aware of the offering. Therefore, social media, posters, ads, postcards, website information will all be improved and increased. There was a decision that the brochure will be mailed to the Hawthorne District 73 families who live outside of the district boundaries. Intergovernmental program information and new resident welcome packets will all be enhanced. And when the intergovernmental facility for the kindergarten program opens, the district will expand the marketing of their programs to these new families to make them aware of recreational offerings that exist at the Park District. That was a big one. So 4.2 was create a Lakeview Fitness website. Because the fitness center is a prominent standalone entity, the district will be creating a website exclusively for this center, filled with valuable information for the users. The website will be linked to the district's existing website, but have two separate addresses. 4.3 is a Lakeview Child Care app. So to better serve the families that are bringing their children to Lakeview Child Care Program, the district will be creating an app that allows parents to more easily interact with the teachers, to see what their children are doing on a regular basis, fill out forms, that type of thing. 4.4 is to communicate the Park District's fiscal responsibility and value to the community. So the Park District is proud to have the lowest tax rate in all of Lake County and continues to find ways to be fiscally responsible through partnerships. And often this information isn't easily found. It might be a tidbit in an annual report. And so just trying to get that out there more to the residents, what things are being done. I would like to note that in the strategic area of focus for marketing and customer service, both are executed by the district's marketing staff, and they encompass the largest number of goals that we have with innumerable action items. Not to mention that some of the other goals, like the facility goals to strengthen them, also include the input of marketing. And so I would suggest you might want to consider additional resources to accommodate the volume of marketing-related goals, maybe consider additional staff or an outside consultant so you can be sure and get all of those goals accomplished in 5 years. Okay, now we come to the facilities focus. So we have 3 goals in this area because we have 3 facilities we're focusing on. One is to create renewed excitement for the Family Aquatic Center. This goal focuses on revitalizing an existing community asset that has shown some signs of age. The district will be identifying marketing segments that are best served by the Aquatic Center, identify a new name, a theme, and accompanying amenities that reflect those market segments to enhance the facility. So 5.2 is to We saw in the survey that there was a little bit of clarification needed for Sullivan Center, what's happening there, although as I drive in today, it's nice and busy, so someone must be figuring that out. But to clarify what happens here in the offerings and the marketing of this center. So the Sullivan Center had, as I said, the most confusion. So this goal is really through signage, marketing, to clarify that, and also to do some work improving the restroom, locker room areas. And goal 5.3 is to market, promote, and continue to invest in Lakeview Fitness in order to capture a larger piece of the fitness market. So Lakeview being located in a community with various fitness options, the district wants to continue to invest in their current Lakeview membership, Also identify the market segment whom Lakeview specifically best represents, and encourage also some new members. Make continual and notable improvements that the members care about, and even get some of their input on that. And this goal also involves creating more awareness for the facility via signage, a new website, marketing, and cross-promotion between the other facilities. And the last goal is a team focus goal. As I said, there's 3 goals under that. Goal 6.1 is to enhance the internal team communication. Because of the wide variety of roles and work locations of all district staff, this goal focuses on reducing any current communication obstacles to disseminating information and keeping all staff up to date in information. Goal 6.2 is to invest in employee recruitment and retention. Building a great team takes time, and keeping them is vital to the district's success. So this goal focuses on identifying positions that the district has the largest recruitment needs for, increasing professional development opportunities, increasing the supervisor feedback, and more. And then 6.3 is to understand individual staff members' contributions to the Park District to build a culture of support and respect. So both with the high volume of full-time and part-time staff, it's a sizable staff and team. This goal focuses more on more robust staff directory that has valuable information in it for each team member, so everyone feels really engaged, knows what everyone else is doing, expanding the employee onboarding program, and assigning a buddy mentor to each full-time staff. And our last slide is just talking a little bit about where do we go from here, or what happens with this plan. So all district employees will receive a copy of the strategic plan. The plan will also be posted on the district's website for the entire community to see. Even though staff was involved in 2 meetings and they know about it, and they informed this, just that they have a current copy as well as the public. The full-time staff will meet quarterly to review the plan's progress and implement the action items of the 20 goals we've just gone through. And they will begin by labeling those 20 goals as short, mid, and long-term in terms of identifying, their progress. The staff and board will review the strategic plan's progress annually at a board meeting to determine if any elements would need some revision based on new data or something that changes in the coming 5 years, and of course would let the public know. And then the plan's progress will be updated on the website via the district's annual report card. And I hope that gives, I know you guys were there too, but hopefully that also shares with the community a little bit more about what this effort was. It was about, I think, about a month and a half. And do you have any questions? Comments?
I think I would like to see a list of the goals that are to be accomplished in the next 12 months, and then periodically check to see the progress to make sure that it is being attended to, that they're going to meet their goals, that it's going to be done in the next year, and then year 2, then start on that.
Yeah,
Just,
turning those 20 into a specific plan and knowing what comes first, so you see how are we going to get through the goals in 5 years. That is the next step.
Accomplishing, from year to year.
Jeff, do you want to answer that question?
So we'll, as Carol said, in the next 30 days, we sit down with the leadership team and we systematically go through the 20 and identify whether what we consider short-term is 12 months or less, and what we consider midterm is usually 1 to maybe 2 years, 2.5 years, and then the long term beyond that. What we do every year in the month of December is we have a special meeting with the park board, and so we take the calendar year and we roll out, and so we provide for you the list of goals that we have accomplished for the year. We in then turn take that information and we put that on our website, and we do what we call a report card, a strategic report card, so that the public knows as well that what we've addressed in terms of our plan is not just something we're shelving, that it is something we're actively working on. So the board is informed, the public's informed as well, and then as Carol mentioned, we meet, our leadership team meets quarterly to just go over and make sure we're still on track.
Any other comments? Questions? No?
All right, Carol, thank you very much for doing
Thank you,
this.
Carol.
Thank you for your
Thanks.
time. I know
Thank
there
you,
was
Carol.
there was a lot of input that you had to somehow mush into one big ball, and we appreciate you doing that for us.
One big ball, huh? Thanks a lot. You guys
Thank
have
you.
a nice evening.
Thank you.
All right, with that, next up is the 2020 Park Board meeting schedule. We all received
Jim,
dates, yes?
you have a motion to adopt the plan.
Gotta
Oh, I
adopt
do?
the plan.
Oh, I guess I do. Okay, I need a motion to adopt the 2020-2024 strategic plan.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline.
Yes.
All right, we got that done. So now we'll get on to the 2020 Park Board meeting schedule. Everyone received a copy of this in their packets and the dates. So with that, I need a motion to approve the 2020 Park Board meeting schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler.
Yes.
And for those of you watching at home, our meetings are primarily held the fourth Thursday of every month here promptly at 6:30. Okay. So, next up is the IAPD annual business meeting credentials.
So this is where we're nominating President Dorhofer and somebody else as the alternate? Is
As
that
a-
what
As our delegates, correct?
Is Commissioner Baloo gonna be there?
Yes, he will.
And I would like to nominate President Dorhofer and Vice President Baloo as our designated representative and alternate, right? That's what they would be?
Yes, that's correct.
That is correct,
So moved.
Second.
of course. A roll call, please.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Baloo.
Yes. Then next up is the no, we don't have any of those tonight. They didn't get paid. All right, so, reports and communication, Executive Director Jeff Hoosier.
You know, I think for the sake of time, I think you've got my report unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Jeff?
Nothing. I do want to add one thing, I guess. I'm sorry, that wasn't in my report. Just congratulations to Commissioner Kessler and Commissioner Baloo. We just found out that they'll be recognized at the conference from IAPD as master. They've become master board members. So they will receive recognition. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means either.
Lovely glass trophy.
Probably another little glass trophy. But yeah, congratulations to you two on that.
You've been like 10 years or something? That might be what it is.
It's just
You're getting close, Mike
attending a lot of
and
meetings.
Bruce. Yeah. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, with that then, Finance and HR Superintendent Marla DeSico.
Good evening. I will be brief as well. Just pull out two comments here. We have collected 97% of our 2018 tax levy, and we usually get our final payment in December. We are just gearing up for open enrollment, and I'm very happy to say that once again, Paderma has done a great job with containing costs. Our PPO plan will increase by only 2.1%, and the HMO plan will increase by 2.5%. And if you look at the 5-year average, you can see that there's not spikes in other years. They continue with this low pricing. So the 5-year average for the PPO is 2.6% and 3.1% for the HMO. So I think that's pretty outstanding in today's health costs. So that is my report, unless anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Marla? Thank you. Next up, Recreation Superintendent Tom Ritter.
Thank you. I'll just highlight a few things as well. as people are starting to get off of our sports fields because of the cooler weather, the gym is going to get full for basketball season, both for our children and adults. Our youth basketball program has somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 children. It's a pretty big house program, and our skill evaluation day is this weekend. Even if people miss that, it's still not too late to sign up, but it's getting very close. So if anyone's considering playing youth basketball from grades 3 through 8, now is the time to register. First and second graders have a little bit more time. Their program starts a little bit later. Those that are interested or considering it, the season starts with practices the week of December 2nd, and games start the week of January 11th after the holiday break. They play 10 games, and the season runs through March.
Thank you.
Adults, our adult basketball leagues begin play also early January. They play on Tuesday and Thursday nights, either at the local school district or at the Sullivan Center. Registration for teams begins November 11th, so it's a good time to start talking to your friends and neighbors if you're considering playing. We have a variety of competition levels, so whether it's competitive or more recreational, we can accommodate. The Fall Fest will be over by the time this board meeting is televised, but it is this Friday. We have currently about 800 people signed up. It's probably our biggest, next to Rib Fest, it's probably our biggest event of the year. And we probably have about 15 vendors that'll be in the gym giving out candy and treats to the kids, with a bunch of fun activities taking place in the gymnasiums and all the rooms throughout the Sullivan Center. A little push for the Vernon Hills Soccer Club. As one of our affiliates, we take the registration for them for the community soccer program, not travel, but the community soccer program. And we currently are accepting registration for them for the spring season. I know it seems early, but for those that play soccer, now is the time to register. More information will also be in our winter brochure, which will be coming out at the end of November. And finally, I just wanted to mention a couple things. Our PALS, our after-school program, I wanted to thank the Hawthorne School District for being a very supportive partner in helping us gain access to additional schools. Just simple explanation to people, we have about 300 kids in the program, and they're housed in 2 schools, Elementary South and Elementary North. And District 73 has helped us gain access to both Aspen and Townline schools as well. So instead of 150 people in 2 schools, we have about 75 people in 4 schools. The kids don't have to leave the school they go to. It's safer, it's more comforting for them. You get a better experience with less kids. So it was a very busy transition. Anna Swain, the supervisor who oversees it, has been working very hard to make this work. We now have 33 staff employed in that program, as it's grown very quickly. And as a result of that change to 4 schools, it's also allowed us to expand. And we had a waiting list of close to 100, and at least 50 of them, 45 to 50, have already been taken off the waiting list now that we have the additional school space. So a really nice time for the PALS program, and again, thanks to the schools for their support. And that's my report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for Tom? All right, thank you. Next up, Park Superintendent James Kim.
Good evening. I'd like to start by letting all of our residents and park patrons know that our park restrooms are scheduled to begin shutting down Monday, October 28th. There will be porta johns will remain at Century Park near Cricket Pitch, Deer Path at Kids Castle, Hawthorne Club, and Lake Charles. The exterior doors to the Hartman Pavilion will be closed, as well as the drinking fountains turned off, and the Century Park Pavilion is a year-round facility, but the exterior drinking fountain will be shut off. Our facilities are scheduled to reopen sometime in spring of 2020. We perform brush clearing 2-3 times a year. I would like to note to all of our residents out there that the brush clearing at Hawthorne Melody on the east side of the park is not the park district. Everything you saw that's been removed is actually property of the Village of Libertyville. I know that the path is very close, but the line is literally feet from the path at that one bend. If there's any questions, you're more than welcome to contact the Parks Department or call the Village of Libertyville's Engineering Department. I do have a solar panel update. Originally, we were scheduled to have them installed before the end of the year, but due to some, I wrote down world economic instability, our panels were pushed back by several months. Basically, our order got pushed off because of a giant order ahead of us that they could not say no to. For efficiency's sake, they send the panels overseas in shipping crates. So Train struggled to purchase the entire shipping crate worth, which is many thousands of units. So we got pushed back a little bit. Our scheduled installation is sometime in March, early April. An update for fuel tank remediation over at the old park maintenance shop. The EPA initially rejected our corrective action report. It doesn't mean that they reject the findings. It was just some administrative paperwork that need to be done. They did take the entire 4 months to look through ours, and then they gave us this at the last minute. The two items, one is identifying a concrete barrier restriction, and the other is giving a full legal description of the property parcel. There's no other further corrective action comments that were submitted with the package, so that's actually a pretty good sign. Second to last thing I report that's not on here is for all the residents that smell an odor at Century Park South, that is not sewage. That is organic top dressing that we've put on the turf site so that we can promote some long-term growth. That soil that was put down is basically dead, and not even weeds were growing in it all summer. So instead of removing the topsoil and bringing in more topsoil that may or may not, we decided to just amend the soil with organic material. Okay.
And we all know what that is.
Yes.
Yes.
And the last part of my report, they're on your screen, yes, they are. I am going to do a small presentation for Lainey, Park Recreation. She's just not feeling ill. She's feeling ill, let's just leave it there. The theme of the playground is learn, grow, dream, create. So as we go through the slide presentation, these pictures, you'll see some of those elements, and then the last picture will show a bird's eye view of they put in a pour-in-place surfacing with design in it. That was not our original intention, but we had them estimate the cost for the rendering as is.
This is, by the way, this is the playground that's gonna be in the new kindergarten
kindergarten.
building that we're responsible for. An agreement, okay?
So in this first image, we are essentially looking from the new kindergarten. So the backdrop is the new and old gym for the Sullivan Center. These are just some steppers. One misconception is that everything is custom made and it costs more. Everything is custom made from scratch. There's nothing in stock. There is a little bit of added cost for these clouds and the yellow flowers in the background. The brain maze should be the opposite way, but for this, the picture was put in so you can see what's on it. The red thing is just gears that just turn. You can't see it here, but under the bridge are monkey bars. It's really important to have some kind of upper body. There's another image. There's steppers. The log to the right is a very difficult climber, and it's challenging for some, but it's a good 2 to 5. There's another view. There's 2 spinners in this. There's one in the foreground and there's one in the background behind the green tube slide. There's a net climber and a swing. The green swing, it looks like a rafting tube. 4 littler kids can get in. Most likely it's just 2. Some of the kindergarten staff aren't thrilled about swings because someone has to push them, and they probably need help getting in, so that's kind of on the first list of things that might get dropped. Learn, grow, dream, create. They try to incorporate in the tops, so you have leaves, flowers, and clouds. And here's the over. If you look in the orangish tan, you can see the human head in the bottom right corner, the gears, the clouds, and I think it's a plant coming out of a hand. The top left corner are musical instruments. There's 6 of them. The 2 small ones are the same, the 2 medium ones are the same, and then one's a xylophone, one's a chimes. And that's all. The port and play surfacing that they quoted, the green is synthetic surfacing, synthetic turf. There's absolutely no landscaping. There's no organic material, I'll say that confidently. Talking with District 73 staff and just knowing myself, getting equipment in there to do any kind of work is nearly impossible. The gate opening is only gonna be 42 inches when all is said and done.
Push a mower back and forth.
Push more? Sounds like torture for our seasonal gig. So originally, we were discussing doing synthetic turf for the entire play area, but Laniet Park Recreation decided to keep with their original theme. This was almost exactly what she presented to the school board almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Very little has changed, except for the pricing. It went up 5% since the last time, and she's thinking 5 to 7% again after Jan 1, 2020. The PIP, the port and play surfacing, as you see, is estimated between 96 to 99,000. Comparable for synthetic turf is somewhere between 85 and 90, depending on the deck height. So a lot of this is dependent on, right there, that bridge and the slide and how high that can be. So the 3D image is great. The 2D image will really show the depth and the height of everything, and then we'll get an accurate estimation for the surfacing. The total cost of this is about 98. That includes our national joint purchasing agreement and a small 5% discount and freight. The price without any discounts is about $140, so that kind of gives some kind of value to joining some of these co-ops.
That price is just for the equipment.
Yeah, just equipment, and we will go out to
so-
bid
Yeah.
for
You gotta
install.
add the other install and the pour
And
and place.
the pour and play or
the other
synthetic
small
surfacing.
synthetic, yeah.
Right now, the site is ready for synthetic surfacing. We had a Berger pre-do the surfacing because the small opening between the 2 buildings is gonna make it impossible to get dump trucks in there. It would cost a fortune to have things skid steered in little by little. It would take weeks, literally. That's all I really have. If there's any questions.
I want to go back to your report on train. I'm concerned, they knew about our order months ago, and now we're getting pushed back 5 or 6 months because they don't have enough inventory. I just don't feel that's right.
I mean, I wrote economic instability because there were some tweets, let's leave it at that, that made some of the materials costs go up, and people were kind of fearful that it may triple, quadruple after a certain period, which it really didn't. So people placed orders in ahead of time. Train was working hard to get our engineering done as fast as they could, but again, we're not paying a dime on this, so they did what they had to. The paperwork was grueling between our contract, their contract with their financier, which is a third party, and just getting all the parties involved agreed on a certain price. Really, that's what really took the longest.
Okay. Back to the playground, please.
Sure.
Are we allowed any changes?
Yes, that's where we're.
So my only comment was, overall, I thought it was fine, it was nice. I just, for me, it looked like it lacked maybe another piece on the outside of the major thing. And I was looking at the clouds and the little poles that go up in the air and everything going, is that really necessary?
It's probably about $8,000 or $9,000 that if they were just poles.
But do they have to be there?
No,
To me, I was just trying to find another piece. But I don't know, the clouds just bored me. I think they'll bore a kid too.
it's whimsical.
They look like cotton balls.
They do.
I thought the clouds were okay.
It's geared towards 5-year-olds.
I get it,
It's all
but
5-year-olds.
5-year-olds
They're
like
trying
to climb on
theme
things.
it. Yeah.
I like the,
They're not gonna climb on the clouds. So,
no, I agree. It seemed like there was an area that was pretty open, in between. I'm not sure if you just need more running around space or if
Yes.
you need it.
Yes.
Okay, so,
You
so
need-
they didn't want to have,
We have.
was the kindergarten, staff happy with this design?
Originally, that's who they worked with. Laney worked with the school district, and then when we took it over, so the original design, yes, she communicated with the kindergarten staff. And we looked at just making sure there's enough green space in that courtyard, because it is a pretty confined. You can walk down our hallway here by our new gym and look out the windows there, and you'll see the area that we're talking about. And we have just, with our PALS program, we have over 50 5-year-olds, kindergarten kids, and they're all gonna be out there at the same time.
Need earplugs. I mean, seriously, that's gonna be, a courtyard like that is gonna be loud from the reverberations off the
Yeah,
buildings.
it
I
could
mean,
be, yeah. So it's, if they took classrooms out there, they have, I think, 16 classrooms, and their classrooms maybe have 20 to 25 kids. I doubt they're gonna put multiple classrooms out at the same time, but they may. If they put 3 or 4 classrooms that go out at the same time, you could have 70 or 80 kids.
During the meetings, they did express to Laney that at least 2 classrooms will go out at a time,
2?
so that everyone can get out
So
enough
maybe
times during
40,
the week.
50 kids, yeah.
And this can accommodate this size space?
Yes, that's why there's some empty spaces.
And again, I mean, here we are gonna approve something, but the reality is, I mean, if the kindergarten staff has already reviewed this all, I would have to bow to their expertise.
Yeah.
They know, I mean, I would hope they know a heck of a lot more than I do anyway.
We are contributing, so, I mean, the
Oh,
clouds.
I understand
the
that,
clouds
but
and the
again, just like
flowers.
anything else, we're not building a skate park without talking to the skaters.
Right.
In this case, this is gonna be used by the people that helped design it. So I'm comfortable that they know what they're doing enough that,
Well, you heard one thing James brought up in terms of swings. There's not a lot of that, because the teachers don't wanna sit there and have to push kids for 20 minutes. So they want them playing and not have to be engaged in that type of activity.
the question I have is,
That's what grandparents are for.
so, I know you say 2 classrooms at a time, but this is all-day kindergarten now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
they're gonna have a lunch hour.
yes.
You know what happens on a nice day at lunch?
They go right
There'll
out,
be a lot
yes.
of kids out there.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what their schedule is. If, they got that many kids, I don't know their
if they do it
multipurpose
in
room.
shifts, if they,
Yeah, they're gonna
and then
probably-
obviously if it gets too burdensome, I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
design something to keep them occupied in another area of the building or.
And they have our gym too.
Yes,
They
they have our
have
gym.
full use of our gym
I get it.
the whole day
Okay,
as well, so.
So,
yes.
I just had, so I think the port in place, I mean, I do think those are nice amenities if we can afford that. Is the design of the gears in the head, does that make it more expensive to do the port in place? If we just picked one color, is there any
Yes,
significant savings?
yes, there's significant savings. The blue, in addition, doesn't have enough black in it, so there's an additional cost to have more color. With the white pellets cost more because it's harder to make. We learned that with Kids Castle, that's why it's really speckled. Depending on the speckling, the price could fluctuate, and then, yes, how they want to do the designs itself could also cost money. Now, if they painted it like they did for Kids Castle, that's much, much cheaper, and the price would go down significantly. And that's an option we can look into. I mean, the dragon is finally fading after several years, and still looks pretty decent.
It's gotta go out to or for bid, and we have a budget that we've committed to. So if this thing comes in over, we're gonna have to go back and look at some value engineering on the site.
And I guess that's what I'm thinking. I
And it might
do
be-
like the port in place and having the low maintenance. And if there's a way to be able to afford it by maybe taking away, I do like the design, but if we needed to take that away, I would consider making changes on that end. The other quick question I just had for, again, it's very minor, but I see like the 2 spinning things very separate from each other. Is that something that kindergarten people would want to have people solo, or do they want to put two next to each other? Is it, I'm just thinking social and interaction. And I think I saw earlier there was, I think, 2 chairs underneath. Would you
Oh,
want to
right there on the
include?
left.
Yeah, would you want to include, these are small things, but I guess I would bring that up to the kindergarten people to see socially what creates the best atmosphere.
The spinners have a 48 to 54 radius around it that you can't overlap. So the bottom left, I think it's getting pretty close to that sidewalk. And then on the right, it works with the flow, because if you're coming down the tube slide, naturally kids are gonna go left and right, so they may run to the net, or they go right back up to the cloud to down to the structure. I've seen spinners next to each other, but in this design, you'd have to rearrange a lot of things to get them close to each
Okay.
other.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, with that, let's move on to Marketing and Communications Manager, Cheryl Boone.
Hello, good morning, good evening. Just a couple things, I know we're running late. I did want to let the public know, if this is broadcast before Tuesday night, October 29th, we're having a glow walk. It will be at Century Pavilion at 6 p.m. and we're asking kids and families to come in their Halloween costumes. We're providing all the glow sticks, and we'll go on a 2-mile walk around Century Park. And also, beginning this week, we have our Toys for Tots boxes out at Lakeview Fitness and the Sullivan Community Center. This is our annual toy drive through the U.S. Marine Corps Toy for Tots program. We ask you to, if you can, to bring new unwrapped toys suitable for children newborn through 16 years old. We'll have our boxes out through December 14th, and they'll be picked up and distributed to needy kids in our Lake County area for the holidays coming up. And really, that's it. We can read the rest.
Okay, any questions for Cheryl? All right, thank you. Next up, Facility Manager Joe Zimmerman.
Good evening. Just really briefly, for September, our membership visits, personal training sessions, and group fitness attendance were all up compared to the previous year. And then just a few notes of things we have going on. Friday, November 1st, we'll be demoing a UJAM class. UJAM is a dance format that's similar to Zumba, with more of an emphasis on hip hop, so hopefully it can bring in a younger crowd, a different crowd of sorts. We will also be having on October 31st, our annual trick or treat for our members. They can choose trick or treat. If they choose a treat, they get a piece of dark chocolate. If they choose a trick, they'll be given a Halloween themed exercise to complete, and once they complete that, then they'll receive their treat. Lastly, I just wanted to just address that our membership rates will increase starting January 1st, 2020. We will be discontinuing our grandfathered rates and raise the fees on all our membership types. We did send out a letter and pricing sheet to all of our current members, along with a follow-up email a week later. We'll send out one more follow-up email to make sure that everybody is notified. The increase will also be represented in our winter brochure, and there will be pricing sheets up at both front desks here at Sullivan and at Lakeview. That is it for my report. If there are any questions.
Any questions for Joe?
Actually, I have just a quick question.
Sure.
So the membership is down slightly from 2018.
It is.
But the actual visits
Are up.
is up. So we have fewer people, but the people that are coming
Are
are
coming
coming
more
a
often.
lot.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we have no Commissioner Committee reports this evening, no board correspondence. So Commissioner comments, Commissioner Merlin, anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Commissioner Robbins?
Nothing this evening.
Commissioner Kessler?
Just thanking the staff for all the work they did on the planning.
I will echo those thoughts, and with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call.
Commissioner Blue?
Yes?
Commissioner Kessler?
yes.
Commissioner Moline?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.